You close on the deal and jump straight to your next goal. And somewhere in between, you tell yourself, I really need to sit down for a couple minutes and look at actually what is working in my business.
And then that phone rings again. A showing gets moved, our inspections come back, people are making calls, and that promise we made to ourselves that we're going to work on our business planning gets moved to next week. And if you're pushing 6, 7, 8 deals, and you just remember the last time you looked at your numbers and really sat down instead of just reacting to them, we have built something for you in Claude Code today that we promise that you can look at this for automation every single day where you're really looking at your business.
Exactly. If you are really, video is really for you if you are a real estate agent working in a few years in real estate business, closing steady and trying to break it to the next tier, or basically doing more volume and more consistency and less flying by the seat
of your pants. It's an expression. I have to explain expressions sometimes. So you don't get into real estate to be a data analyst. I completely understand. You definitely do not get in there to be a coder. But agents at scale are the ones who actually looked at their business and built their business instead of just working on their business. And that's a problem that you didn't know until you started looking at the strategy.
Exactly. Is that a strategy is taking hours that you don't have? So it's basically it keeps losing it to the next call because you always get busy and you cannot really plan that what you wanted to do. And this is exactly the gaps that today we're gonna fill for you. And how is building that Claude Code that my wife talked about? We wanted to go and step by step give you some hint and what is going on.
Okay, this one today I'm going to call my Claude Code, and I have 94 codes that I've now worked on with real estate project, which is crazy, right? Yeah. So, and that doesn't include skill within skill. So growth synthesizer is the one I want to talk about today. So if you're working on something while you're sleeping, while you're at showing, while you're at closing, and basically it's going to have whatever cadence you want. You want a daily update, you want a weekly update, and it's running the daily pulse. So it's giving you exactly what's happening to your market online, and you're going to have a really, let's say weekly that you're going to do it, and it's going to be a weekly deeper review of what's actually happening in your business.
Exactly. And there is also a monthly pass, a quarterly deep dive, and a special cadence built just for planning your content as my wife made. And so even your YouTube strategy gets the same kind of the scheduled review on your lead pipeline. That's what exactly you wanted to have.
So first, it needs to know every piece of relevant information on your business that you have already. Your brands, your lead sources, your performance signals. That's really important. And the second, it's going to synthesize with actual strategic read, not just a spreadsheet dump, real patterns, real recommendations, and get deeper and more forward-looking the more it knows you and your cadence.
And the daily basically read is a very quick pulse check. However, a quarterly read is a genuine deep dive into where your business actually is heading. That's what we wanted to be careful. And what is the third?
And the third is where you're going to get these. Are they going to show up in your email automatically? So when you open your email, do you want a text? Do you want a note in Notions? Where do you want this permanent record to exist that you're actually going to read and take into consideration?
And that's the part matters more than people expect. Because 6 months from now that you are checking, you can go back and see exactly what the system told you and whether you acted on it or you postponed it. And that's going to help you.
So if you're hearing that little sound in the background, that's actually, I have canaries following some stuff. So my Pythons are giving me notifications, things are working. So there's real-time coding that you're hearing from me. Now, real data, and I am not a coder. That's the funny part is I'm not a coder. I didn't know what Python even was before I started all of this. Now, real metrics are how you actually interpret the actual signal. The lead source are converting, which ones are dead weight. Where is your response time dragging? Where's your response time outstanding? Which piece of content is actually driving inquiries to you and which ones are not helping at all? When a system can put all of this together into a coherent read for you instead of just logging into 5 different systems and having you piece together for yourself.
Exactly. Therefore, the system pulls all the things that my wife said together into the one coherent read instead of you logging into 4 to 5 different dashboards and piecing it together yourself at 11 p.m., which is crazy, you know? And because of it is a schedule, it's not something you have to remember to do it. It happens automatically, because whole point is we put our business in the way of the automation that works with us, and then we can get some free time that we can work on other things that generating income for us.
So maybe it's to wake up in the morning. Maybe you want it at right before you have your dinner at 6 o'clock, but the read is sitting for you wherever you wanted it to sit. And you can even have a preview mode. So you can even, like if it's connected to your bold trail, it can actually text you that there's something in there if you're putting on your own personal notes there. It just depends on where you want it to give these notes. So before you commit to anything, you can run previews and see exactly what the digest would look like without it actually, maybe you don't want an email, maybe you do want an email, but you have to kind of look at how you want it to be able to read. Because everybody of us, we all read different. So maybe you are a chart person, maybe you're a list, how you read it all out person. You have to know who you are and how you like to get this information so you can tune it to how you trust it.
Exactly. And if you're running more than one brand or business like us, which is a lot of real estate agent scaling in the past, that plateau basically end up doing it. No, therefore you might end up doing plateau. You can point it just one, and what they should do exactly.
Or you can have a narrow view of the brand for just one day. So basically, again, it just depends how many businesses you're running and how much you're getting this information for growth synthesis. Now, this is why maybe you have three and you have three different risk lists. I'm just making an example. When you don't get to walk away every single day from a paid platform by accident, you have to see if those numbers are working, right? So that's one of the systems that is going to tell you. And we did this a lot of things. We looked at what we were doing, what we were buying zip codes on Realtor.com, and we really realized that they weren't converting as much as we want them to convert, and paying for access for leads that aren't really mine. You can see how many you failed on the listing, even if you were talking to them because another Realtor.com sold them to someone else too. So getting off that treadmill is not as hard as you think, because the more you can get off those paid platforms, the better you will be.
It was about constantly, relentlessly checking what is actually working right now, and that is what is dying and what it needs to change this week versus what it needs to change this quarter that we were talking about. And
well, I just want to say the honest truth of this. And we got off Realtor.com before we had Claude Code, but really it was a system that we created and we're still adding in there in case we do test other projects. The reason we got off Realtor.com, we started with, we were brand new real estate agents. Opcity was great when we first started. I know they took a big percentage. Then we started paying for the leads rather than getting Opcity leads. But we were always building our pipeline. So a year later after that, we were completely done with all aggregators at all, because we were building down the pipeline that we wanted so it wouldn't have to be this way. But by building this own pipeline and creating a system like a growth synthesizer to where you can actually pay attention to where things are coming from so you can see what is working, what is not working, it means that you get this cadence of what the strategic review needs to be for you and what you need to either step up or what you need to step down doing. But nobody has time to look at these numbers every single day. On top of all the things we actually have to do when we're actually selling houses or buying houses with people. So having that automated review is really a key system to this. Let's talk about the math.
Exactly. And think about the actual cost of not doing this. Basically is one missed call or one bad week is drifting for a month, then two, and basically chasing whatever lead source is the loudest instead of the one that actually converting, no? And because nobody sat down and look at the system for you. And this is what we really wanted to fill, that gap that we were talking about, that how we can really, not losing the time, be able to convert and permanently close this gap for us.
So every day, every week, every quarter, whatever cadence you choose, you get pulled from the data instead of further away from the data.
And now we wanted to talk about what actually each cadence works. Can you explain?
So basically the daily read is, what is shifted daily? Do I need eyes on this? How is my SEO going? Quarterly reads is a little bit more of a pullback. This is what lead sources have worked in the past 3 months, whether the content lane as used perform has gone flat. What is my history that I put into Notion in this quarter compared to the last quarter? Instead of just me trying to wing it. So now we're looking at data from the past. And this is basically, do you need to change direction, not just adjust a title?
Exactly. Basically, it looks at where each lead source.
No, content Cadence really points to the same engines that you use. Maybe it's video, which is what we use a lot. Maybe it's your phone, your cold calling. Whatever one is actually converting, those topics are another episode in and of itself. But really following how they all work is really, really key. And your content calendar is built off what your performance is, and not necessarily a guesstimate.
And for you specifically, if you're the real estate agent that's trying to push the past 6 or 8 deals a year, this means that a strategic review that used to be the first thing to fall off your plate now never falls off again, because it's not on your plate anymore, because you did all this legwork upfront to make sure that you fill that gap.
And even if you're a super busy person running around helping a bunch of clients, having the compound benefit of the business that's being reviewed constantly instead of occasionally will help you in the long run instead of hours of review later on. And that's really bandwidth back to your life. So it's not just the next call, the next follow-up, the next relationship, because while you're on hold with one, maybe you're calling the inspector, you're on hold. Now you can actually read this in your time that you have in 30 seconds, so you can at least understand what's going on in your business while you're doing these other things, so you can kind of implement whenever you have the opportunity. But it's a real difference between reacting to business every few months and saying, hey, my leads are dry, versus actually running your business every single day where you have a clear road of where the future is going.
Exactly. Do you want to add anything else?
Well, this version we walked you through is just one of the things that I have built with Claude Code. It's one of mine that I'm happy to share with anybody who partners with us, but this is the version we've set up for ourselves that I love talking about because I'm a big vibe coder. But if you want to try any of my ideas for yourself, you just want to have one idea for yourself, I do have that free open source GitHub. GitHub is a folder where you can read really basically how to do a listing description. You can clone it, you can hate it, you can love it. I love it myself. I really do use it, and it's really experimenting on the systems that you can build, and it's not going to cost you anything. You can just open, except for Claude.
We are Alan Victoria Pinder, a real estate agent, icon agent with eXp Realty, and we are here to level up your business. And in the description below, you can grab an appointment with us, and we love to connect with you. Don't forget to watch all of our playlists here that we all dedicated to how automate your real estate